Hi everyone, my name is Christophe Valensi and today I will talk to you about AI translation, and together we're going to see if AI translation is a danger for the translation industry or not. First of all, let's define translation. Translation is the action of converting a text from a certain language to another language. Translation is often mistaken with interpretation. Interpretation is the action of translating an oral conversation from one language to another. It is more complex than written translation, as there are several types of interpretation, such as simultaneous and consecutive interpretation. Also, it requires a human action, during which the interpreter needs to listen to the speaker and take notes at the same time or translate at the same time, depending on the type of interpretation. Translation is a need nowadays because there is no universal language. For example, the most spoken language in the world is English, with 1.5 billion speakers, while in the world there are 8 billion people living. So can you imagine that the most spoken language in the world is only spoken by less than 20% of the population? Now let's talk about technology in the translation industry. While linguists are simply students that learned a language and its concepts, it is much tougher for an AI-generated translator to learn a language, as it is also a matter of culture. But this technology is quickly evolving with the evolution of AI. But there is a major difference between human linguists and AI translators, as, for example, human beings will feel emotions in the text, while AI-generated translators will always feel the same about a text, even though it may be a sad text or a happy text. It will always simply machinally translate the text. Also, most of human linguists are specialized in a field that they like or they know better, while there is no specialized AI translator at the moment. Specialization helps make less mistakes, as it is about specializing in a field we know better than anyone else. Now let's talk about AI translation mistakes. And first of all, we will talk about polysemic words. In certain languages, one word can have several meanings. For example, the French for lawyer is avocat, but in French, avocat means lawyer and avocado. So, an AI translator will often mistake the avocado with the lawyer in French. This kind of error is current and shows that AI translators will always have a bit of a problem in understanding completely a language and the context of a sentence. We can also talk about cultural borders. Let's use the example of an advertising campaign. If the campaign takes place in England and is for a sports drink, it will be better for the advertiser to talk about this drink that makes people feel as good as Hurricane, while in France it will be better to say that this drink makes you feel as good as Kylian Mbappe. This action is called adapting, and AI can't do it because AI needs to understand the culture of each country, and this is something that is way too big for the moment for AI. Lastly, let's talk about quality differences between AI-generated translations and human linguist translations. First of all, play on words will not be understood by AIs, while human linguists read the text and understand the context. The text will feel less authentic when translated by an AI, as it will simply translate word for word. And lastly, the style of writing will be understood by a human linguist much better than by an AI generated translator. It is now time to conclude the video, and I will say that AI generated translators are a useful tool for a few sentences, but for longer text, it is always better to trust a human linguist as it will be specialized in the text that you give them, and they will always understand the text better than an AI as they feel emotions and they know the culture of your language.